My name is Angaangaq, and it means the man who looks like his uncle. I am from Greenland, on the top of the world, and I'm one of the elders of that land. Mind you, I'm also an elder for many tribes around the world. In South Africa, in India, in South America, in North America, in the Far East, in Far Siberia. And then on top of that, I'm the runner for the elders. And I've been doing it since 1975. I've been carrying the messages of the elders to the world. And I go home and then tell them about where I have been, what I have done, whom I spoke to. And then they send me back to the world and say, this is what you should tell. So I've been talking about the same progressively for many years. As I grew older, I finished my training, which was started when I was very small, by my grandmother, to become the next lineage of the shamans. Because I come from many traditional lineages of shamans, medicine men, and elders, and carriers of a drum. So now I do that. And not too long ago, I have two more elders who are older than me. My uncle, my father's youngest brother, who's 80 years old now, and his aunt, who's the youngest daughter of my grandmother's sister. So we have three generations. My great aunt is 83 years old. I asked my elders what I should do. And the answer which came back is that, you know, son, I have no other old ones to ask. So now you have to find out yourself. It's big shock to realize that I am the last one of that lineage who's now living and doing what I was born to do. It's very fascinating because I'm just a kid. I'm only 63 years old, and here I am doing things, and I had to find a way of doing things which makes sense to the old teachings we carry and to the new world in which I live. So it's a challenge, and it takes a lot of responsibility. Somehow, me personally, I didn't want to have a responsibility. I just want to live a normal life like everyone else. But then the older I become, the more do I realize that somebody is going to have to do it. And everyone else in my land and around the world, they seem to be looking at me and saying, uncle, they call me uncle. And I just say, I don't know. Let me find out. Now I have no one to ask except myself. That's where I am, and that's who I am. I come from the top of the world. They have their own prophecies. Have you heard about the old Egyptians? They had their own prophecies. They made a calendar which will come to an end in about 2012, of course depending who's counting. And then the Aztec people, my people in North and South America, they had the same idea. And then the Mayan people, my family, have the same idea, like the Eskimos on the top of the world. They say that the way you and I, we know the calendar is coming to an end. And we asked my mother, because then she was the oldest one, we asked her, what does it mean that the way we know the calendar is coming to an end? And she smiles, a beautiful smile, and she says, you know, we have spring, summer, fall, and winter, and there will be no more. And we ask her, what does it mean that there will be no more? She says, there will be no more spring, summer, fall and winter. And you know what? This winter, 2011, has been warmer in Greenland than in Europa. We don't have the winter. The first snow in North Greenland fell on February the 3rd. Until then there has been no snow. And plus 11 Celsius, 6,000 kilometers from here in the north. 11 Celsius. So no winter, no snow, no sun. Very, very dark. Very dark. Now, in the last month, the snow has fallen, but it's still much warmer than Europe. So the way we know the calendar truly is coming to an end. We don't have the spring, nor do we have this summer, fall, or winter. And when you ask the old ones, what will come? So, and my mother, she would say with a smile, she said, nobody knows. I said, when will it come? And her famous line in our land is she would say, oh, nobody really knows, depending on who's counting, give or take 2012. You know, this is 2011. Next year is 2012. And now this January in North Greenland, the sun comes 4 days early. So the shifting or the poles is beginning to happen. What kind of shift it will have, nobody has ever experienced it. Us humans, we only lived here for a couple of million years. So really we don't know. But we know scientifically that the poles have shifted before. So I wonder, is it what it means that the poles will shift? Back in the late 70s, I went to the magnetic North Pole in North Canada. And that North Pole and I've moved 300 kilometers. That's 300 kilometers it has moved. Change. You and I, we had to change. Time has come for you and I to change. The old people in my land, they would talk about the hardest thing to learn for humans is to change. The most difficult thing to learn is to change. That is why my mother says, you're going to have to learn to melt the ice in the heart of man. Only by melting the ice in the heart of man, man will have a chance to change and begin using his knowledge wisely. So when I think about it, that I am being asked to change my ways. Today I'm in Zurich, Switzerland, and I had maybe 50 odd people in the circle. And when I look at them, I see incredible knowledge amongst these people from Zurich. Imagine, just imagine for a moment, if they learned to use their knowledge wisely, the difference they would do in their world. That's how I understand what you and I we need to do to prepare ourselves for the future. My grandmother told us that when the big river comes, don't jump to save your family. But you will become the food for the big river. When the world needs your knowledge or wisdom. So she says, run up the mountain, but say goodbyes to your family. I pray to the Great One that I would never have to go through it myself. How difficult it would be to run the opposite way where your family is going. I asked him to spare me of that experience. But it makes sense when you think of it all. when the big river comes, if you jump to save, you too will become. You know how we saw it? I don't know if you remember 6 or 7 years ago, we had a big tsunami. Many people jumped to save their loved ones. They too perished because nobody can fight that force. In a fraction of a moment, we are required by the law of nature to stand before the reality to say goodbye. If not, you and me, we will become the food of the big river. When in fact the world in which you and I will live needs your knowledge, needs your wisdom. So we have big challenges, but those cannot become real until the ice in the heart has been melted. The greatest distance in existence of man, my father told us, is from his mind to his heart. Unless he conquers that distance, he can never learn to soar like an eagle and realize his own immensity within. And you are immense within yourself. How do we know? We know that the big sky is very, very big, but it takes about 10-15 minutes to know where we are by looking at the stars in Switzerland. But it's going to take us lifetimes to get to know you, because you are far more complex and bigger than the big sky. So it's going to take some doing for you and I to change. But change we need to. That's the greatest hope for mankind. Mother Earth, she's going to be okay. It's you and I, as citizens of Earth, who are at the matter of the issue. The great one, they told us that say there is only one Earth, and mankind, which is you and me, her citizen. There's only one Earth, and mankind, her citizen. And you know what? It is true that we only have one Earth and one mankind. But the way we treat each other, the way we are to each other, the way we relate to Mother Nature, it's not working. And we need to make it working. But that can only happen when you and I will change. That's the only hope we have.
Just a moment.
Ho, 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 ho. Oh,